Friends from the Road. You are now listening to the Friends from the Road podcast.
Gaining new friends along the journey. Sharing stories that inspire, encourage, and motivate.
Friends from the Road podcast. Now here's your host, Daniel Hurd.
Welcome everyone to my update from the road. I wanted to kind of take the opportunity to talk to you guys from Florence, Oregon. I'm here on the coast visiting a friend that I served in the military with. We haven't seen each other in over 10 years now. And he's the first veteran that I've been able to connect with since restarting the journey. Now, it's been over a month now since I've been back on the road, since restarting in Seattle, Washington, after taking 7+ months off to recover from the accident that occurred back in October. I've been asked a lot. I've been seeing comments on my social media a lot lately about the things, I've been posting. I've been staying positive throughout this whole process. And I hint upon the pains and the aches that I deal with throughout the days. But a lot of people think that I'm good and I'm back to normal, and I wish that was the case. I'm doing amazing. Let me get that clear. I am doing amazing for multiple reasons. One, I'm alive. Being hit at 70 miles an hour in general is life-threatening. So the fact that I survived that, the fact that I got back on a bicycle, I can't complain. Life is amazing for me. But with that, there's always things that are underlying. And for me, those are the aches and pains I still deal with, the constant struggles that I have to come up, that I try to overcome, and everything that's kind of been going on. And for me, it's the knee pains that I deal with, in my tailbone, in my shoulder, and my brain. So, I've been very fortunate. Again, over 30 days now back on the road, done over 1,000 miles. Now with over 19,000 miles on the entire journey, and Oregon being state number 46, I feel really excited to be finishing, nearing the end of this mission and journey of mine. And but with that, it's not the end of anything. It's just the end of this chapter. It's the start. It's going to be able to get me to the start of the next chapter. So the excitement is for multiple reasons. Mentally, I deal with so much anxiety and stress now. Being on the roads, around vehicles, has me on such a heightened alert, more heightened than I've ever been at. And it really, it's distracting. It takes a lot of energy out of me. And I just feel like I'm struggling at times. I feel like I get in my own mind. I can't remember the accident, thankfully. Thankfully, I can't remember that. I couldn't imagine having to deal with the traumas with those. But I do still have traumas. I have the knowing that I did get hit. And really, the struggles that I have is not knowing how I reacted during the accident. If I tried to get out of the way, if I, maybe, tried to do something after I got hit. It's just, it's challenging because I don't know, and I'll never know, and I'm okay with that at the same time. But the fear of being rear-ended, not knowing what's coming, even though I have 2 mirrors on my bicycle, I'm unfortunately looking in my mirrors far more than I should be. But it's what I'm using right now as a comfort. And I have two, like I said, I have 2 mirrors. I have one for when I'm in a riding position. I have another for a different riding position. And they are pretty much make it so that I can see a lot more than I would if I had either none or one. So it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, but it's not there. I really I struggle with it. I'm dealing with just so much like anxiety and chest pressure and jaw locking and strain in my body when I'm on these roads. And unfortunately, I'm going to be on these roads for a little while, and I'm going to be in roads that don't have as much shoulders and, things that remind me and already are starting to trigger me from similar situations that I was in right before the accident. I love roads with shoulders, really big shoulders at that. It really makes me feel a little bit safer, as much as it's, just an illusion. Anything can happen. But it gives me a little bit of comfort. And when I'm on trails and when I'm on like these dirt roads where there's literally stretches of no vehicles, it's amazing. I am at peace. I am so happy. I ride better. I feel better. It just makes me feel better. And that's a huge reason why the bike that I have now, the Jones Plus bicycle that I have, it's a mid-fat tire bike. That's one of the huge reasons why I wanted that style bicycle, was because I wanted to be able to have the option to get away from cars as much as possible, even though I know that it's not going to be completely feasible for this type of journey that I'm on. Now, for future journeys, that is the plan. The plan is to stay away from cars. But it's just not that option right now. And I'm determined. I am so determined to do all 48 states and to reach as many people as I can and to continue to share my message of suicide awareness and hope and inspiration, not even through the journey itself, because I do that on a daily basis, but through this podcast, through social media, through all types of media. I want to give people hope. And if I can do that to one person or one more person, then it makes I am accomplished. And I don't want people to think that I'm seeking that fulfillment. I've already gotten that fulfillment. I continue to do it because I know there's still more work to be done. Now, so the anxieties that I've been dealing with, obviously, it's a lot to do with in my head, and my head isn't still perfect. It's a lot better than it was, especially in the last month. In the last month, because I think of just being active and having conversations, doing a lot of self-talks and taking these opportunities to kind of go through episodes in my head. And I really have to thank Chris from Heart of Volunteer Veterans Podcast and my friend that I stayed with for the 6+ months while I recovered from the accident in Texas. I learned that from him, and he's been very insightful and helpful for me to really grow and heal. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I just thinking, 6 months ago, I felt so much anger and frustration and like blankness, I guess. I just was in this huge fog in my mind, and for a while it felt like it wasn't going away, and then it made progress, and then it stopped making progress, and I felt like I stalled out. I reached out to get some medical advice for it and kind of make sure, what was going on. I was officially diagnosed with a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury. So it takes time to heal on those. It could take a good amount of time for some people. And it's been 8 months now and I'm still healing. And the good thing is that I am still healing. I haven't stopped healing. There's been places in it that it's been difficult, but I really feel like it's improving one day at a time, and thankfully being active and engaging my mind in different activities and all these different things that I can do to exercise my mind and my routines, I guess, because that's a lot of the things that I feel like I need to kind of rebuild is these routines to make things easier in my life. And I'm working on those things. I'm determined. I want to do better. I want to be better. I want to be able to engage people as well as I did before. I want to feel like I can have an intelligent conversation, which I struggle with a little bit right now. I still lose my train of thought. I still have these blank moments where I'll completely forget what I'm having been talking about. But with all that, brain-wise, it's healing and it's making progress. So I'm excited for that. Let's take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll talk about the body side of things.
Are you looking for that beer that fits your active lifestyle? Maybe a beer fit for running, a brew fit for hiking. What about that beer league that you're in? A brew fit for backflips, a beer for surfing, biking, and skiing. One fit for workouts or rest days. Maybe you're looking for that chill time beer. Time to hang out with friends drink. Regardless of the reason, Athletic Brewing has the beer for all times. Brewed without compromise. Enjoy craft beers without all the alcohol. Get 20% off your first order with code capital RWD20. Link in the description. Now, back to the episode.
My physical fitness, my physical body, people think it's amazing that I'm back on the road. Just after, it's been 8 months, just over 8 months since the accident at this point. And, I'm pedaling it a lot. I've done a lot of miles since getting back on the road. I've climbed several passes already. I've been places. I've finished Washington. I'm on my way through Oregon, and I have California and Nevada left. And people just think it's amazing. Like, man, it's so amazing that you healed so fast and you're able to get back to doing what you love. I love the fact that I'm back on a bicycle. I really feel like I need cycling in my life, or activity, really. It's not even per se, I guess, cycling as much as I love cycling. I really do. But I need activity. I need that tool that I can connect with people that are either like-minded or, I don't even know how to explain it. I need it in my life. And it's a challenge nowadays. So, I'm doing pretty well. The other day I just did my longest ride of my restart, and that was 88 miles. Thankfully, a lot of it was downhill. But even yesterday coming into Florence, I did 63 miles. Before both of those days, my longest ride up to that with fully loaded was 58 miles. And that's still really impressive for getting back on the road. And I constantly tell myself, I say it in my videos on social media, I say it a lot. It's still one pedal at a time. I literally have to remember that because I get discouraged. I sometimes think about all the miles I've already done and all the things that have happened on this journey. And then there's other times where I'm worried about the vehicles ahead of me that I haven't encountered yet, the distracted driver, the driver that says they can't see me because of the sun, whatever the reasons are. I start thinking about that, and I start thinking about the miles I still have left. And the only way for me to get back into the moment is to literally remind myself it's one pedal at a time. And it's really empowering to know that how much, for me it is, that phrase has so much meaning for me, that it makes me emotional, that it makes me appreciate the now, the moment, the things that I have right now, and it kind of recenters me to get me out of that anxiety and depression, I guess, of the past and the future. And I use that phrase in different ways throughout my day and throughout my journey as well. It's not just one pedal at a time. When I struggle, it becomes one step at a time. When I'm trying to do certain things, it becomes one thought at a time. Whatever it is, I just remember it's one at a time. It's about the moment, and I'm trying to live in the moment, and it's a challenge because I deal with these aches and pains. So that's where I was going with this. Is for me, before the accident with the camper, I could do 40 to 60 miles a day with some rest days, obviously, but I could ride 40 to 60 miles. That bicycle weighed 350 pounds. With me on it was over 500. Now, the bike that I had, obviously the same bike before the camper, that bicycle weighed about 150, 160 pounds. And I could ride 60 to 80 miles, usually with no problem. Sometimes a little sore here and there, but that was the common normal stuff. Now, the new bicycle weighs 150 pounds. It's the sorry guys, I lost my train of thought real quick. The dog's having lunch. It's lunchtime, so if you hear that, that's what's going on. But the new bike is 150 pounds. It's a lot lighter. It's got bigger tires, but really it's inflated. So I'm really running on the same surface area as if I was on my old bicycle. It just gives me a better option when I deflate the tires off-road. And the bike is just more stable compared to my previous bike. It's a bigger bike. It's just really, I should be going further because I have bigger wheels. It doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it takes as much energy to go as far. But at the same time, I'm using so much energy to be able to go just the same distance as if I had my heavier bicycle. My knees are in pain constantly. And I tell people, I'm in pain no matter what. I could be in pain sitting around waiting till I'm not in pain to be able to ride a bicycle again. Or I could get on a bicycle and stay in the same amount of pain and enjoy what I love. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing already, is because the pain isn't going away. And I hope it does at some point, but based off of what I feel and how it feels now, I anticipate having pain potentially for the rest of my life. And I'm okay with that. There's things that I can do to make it better, and one of those things is not living in a humid region of the country. So I noticed that when I was started, my knees hurt. When I left the humidity and went to the more the drier, high desert area, my knees felt good. I rode further, and as I got closer to the ocean and the humidity again, I could feel it in my knees. I could feel it in my tailbone. I could feel it in my body. My biggest impacts were taken on my knees and my tailbone and really my head and my left shoulder. But I do feel it. I feel it throughout my body. I have aches and pains that I didn't really realize I had because the other ones were so bad before. Like my wrists hurt, my hands hurt more, my body, and so my knees, like I said, they're in a constant pain. They're about a 3 on a scale level of 10, constantly. Throughout the day, they feel like they have like the sandpaper feeling, and that's rubbing against my skin on my knees. And every once in a while, best way I can describe it is, the little Velcro hooks that we use for the Velcro. It feels like it hooks my skin every once in a while, and the pain level will immediately shoot up to about an 8. Fortunately, it's only for a couple minutes usually. If it's any longer than that, I usually have to stop and like wiggle my skin to get it off. And then the pain subsides to back down to a 3-ish. Now, my tailbone, I sat on a pad, a waffle cushion for months until I finally got past that. I thought my tailbone was healed. But I feel my tailbone anytime I ride more than 35 miles. It starts to get irritated. By 40, I can really feel it. Any more than that, it starts to become sensitive. And when I tell people about it on my social media posts and everything, I talk about how my butt and tailbone are in pain. I really think that my tailbone, the nerve endings there, are just irritating the whole area. And it's really challenging, to be honest, to be able to do what I love and to be able to ride the distances that I want to, and not be in pain. And I'm very fortunate that it's not as bad as it could have been because of the type of seat that I have. I have a Brooks seat. If you guys don't know what those are, they're a piece of leather. And so you're floating. It's literally you're floating on leather. So it gives a little bit more actual support, I feel like, compared to any of my other seats that I've had. And this is my 5th one on my journey. So I'm thankful that I have the seat that I have so that my tailbone isn't as potentially as bad. But I do feel it. And especially like yesterday's ride, the 63 miles to get here to Florence, I feel it in my knees. I feel it in my tailbone. My tailbone, I can't, there's days where I can't sit on certain things. And recently when I was back in Mount Hood, or Hood River actually, I had an issue with my air pad, what I slept on. And the one I had was a 1-inch thick one. When I sat on that thing, I was literally almost touching the ground, and sometimes was. It was not enough cushion for me. It hurt to sit after riding. It hurt to lay down after riding. I would fold this thing up so that I could have like a 4-inch cushion on it. So when that thing deflated and stopped working, I ended up getting a new one. And the new one I have is a 4-inch thick air pad. And this thing is awesome. I'm so glad I got it because it makes it so that I can sit down. It gives me a little bit more leg room on my knees, and it helps enough cushion for my tailbone at the end of the day where I can comfortably sit down and lay down without being in pain. Now, I don't talk about that as much as I probably should on my social media because that's not my focus. My focus is bringing positive light to it. I talk about the dark stuff too. But, I want people to see it. I want people to connect with it. And I want people to see that, even if I am struggling, I'm still making the positive out of it. And that's the biggest thing is, making it a positive situation. And that's all I keep doing on this whole thing, guys, is I keep trying to stay positive. I keep trying to stay motivated, and I have a lot of motivation right now for me. Getting done with this journey and starting the next chapter of my life is something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to it for several reasons. One of those biggest reasons is, starting a new life in a new place. That place, for me, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm definitely looking towards the Colorado region, mountain area, probably closer towards the desert sides, but it's still up in the air, and I'm looking forward to figuring that out. I'm really looking forward to what comes ahead. I don't want to get too excited for it, but the possibility of a relationship and something that I've been really excited to hope will happen. And again, I'm not going to get too much into that, but the possibilities are there, and I'm excited for those, and that's something that I'm looking forward to exploring. So with that, I've been, like I said, I've been doing this now for over 3 years total. Started March of 2018. It's coming towards the closing in the next several months. I still got some time, guys. There's plenty of time, plenty of people to still have conversations with, and new friends to meet on the road. From here, I will be heading down the coast. It's getting hotter. It's getting more risk of fires, especially the closer south to California I get. So it looks like I may be having to alter a little bit of my route and probably stay close to the coastline and inner coast area, and not going too far inland because of the risk of fires and stuff like that. So potentially originally was supposed to hopefully finish by November 30th. As of right now, that could be sooner. I don't anticipate being done any earlier than October because it's still too hot in Arizona and Nevada. Before that, I feel like. So taking it as it goes, and I'll have more updates from the road.
Copyright OPAATM Movement 2021.